And Christopher Luxon is with me. Hello to you.
G'day, Chris. Good to be with you.
You too. Let's just quickly touch on the National Party roadshow, overflowing with people in one location. Were you surprised by the turnout?
No, look, I've been doing public meetings since I became leader, and we've had a really good showing always. And so really the Back on Track tour is just a chance for people to come along, share their concerns, hear a little bit more about me and actually how we want to be in government and the things that we're going to lead for.
Some Labour activists who pretend they're journalists took offence to your audience in one location. One said that nearly all the questions at the National Party roadshow meeting were about race. He was then forced to apologise when he was called out for reporting fake news. RNZ described your audience as white and over 60. We're living in an era where divisiveness and race, for whatever reason, is king. So how are you going to bring New Zealanders together? Because the media appears to be obsessed with race.
Well, look, we all have our different identities, but there's been a hell of a lot of identity politics led by this government over the last 6 years. We've had, rural versus urban. We've had landlords versus tenants. We've had, employers versus employees. We've had Māori versus non-Māori. It's a pretty simple deal.
Vaccinated versus unvaccinated.
Yeah, we're very, very proud of our respective identities, and we should be. We should respect those. But first and foremost, what elevates us and joins us all together is that we're Kiwis, and that's why we've been pretty straightforward about saying, we're one country, we have one public service system, we help and support all Kiwis on the basis of their needs, not their ethnicity, and that's we're all equal under the law with equal citizenship. So, that's pretty straightforward. But, it's disappointing when you hear that reporting. We had a very discursive sort of broad set of conversations around health and education and crime and the economy, I think it's been a very successful set of meetings.
2/3 of Kiwis are more concerned about being a victim of crime today than they were 5 years ago. So what are you going to do to make the country safe? Because that's a lot of people in this country, according to an NZ Herald poll, who say they feel unsafe. Now, Prime Minister Chris Hipkins was on the radio this morning saying, well, it's all very well to increase or put people in prison, but the evidence suggests it doesn't work.
Well, look, I'd sooner have people in prison than out in the community making people feel unsafe in their own communities, in their own businesses, in their own homes. It's that simple. This is a government with one target only. It's been a 30% reduction in the prison population. That would be fine if crime was down 30%, but you and I both know it's not. And as a result, we need to get much tougher on crime. And that means giving the police the tools they need to tackle gangs in particular, ban gang patches in public places, stop gang members from associating and consorting together to plan criminal activity, to intimidate in public spaces, give them warrantless search powers, and as you and I have talked before, create serious young offenders category for judges, and then youth military academies so that we can actually make interventions in these young people's lives and get them turned around. Those are the sorts of things we've got to try, because we do get a choice here. We either accept that this is the new standard in New Zealand and the new normal, and it just keeps getting lower and lower and lower, and I'm not prepared to accept that.
The police minister said, though, in her view, that New Zealanders were feeling safer because the government is on track to deliver 1,800 extra police officers. What do you say to that?
Oh, look, this government confuses inputs and activity with achievement and outcomes. New Zealanders can tell you right now, they see the media, they see the issues in their own community, they've seen rising levels of crime. They do not feel safe in their homes, in their businesses, or in their communities. And so, the police minister can say whatever they want, and I think you were the person that got it out of her to say that she feels safer. The reality is, or New Zealanders feel safer. That's just not true. It's just not true, and we've seen this from Chris Hipkins before. There's no problem in the Hawke's Bay with crime, gaslighting the country, saying one thing when the other thing's actually happening. And so, I'm not going to get lectured from Chris Hipkins or Ginny Anderson on crime in New Zealand.
Late last week, Peter Dunn said your handling of the $5 prescription fee could turn women off voting for Labour, calling it messy. Do you accept that it was messy?
Look, I think I think it really got blown out. I think really the government wanted to take attention away from the fact that its early childhood education centre program has been deemed unworkable by 90% of the sector. So it wanted a bit of a focus last week on us instead of themselves. But the bottom line's been pretty clear. I just never understood why someone like me, who can afford to pay, should actually have universal prescription-free charges, $5 prescription-free charges. So we've just said always it's targeted. Those that can't afford to pay, we should pay for them, and those that can should. It's that simple.
The problem is, though, although that sounds simple, it didn't appear that simple in the media, though. It was messy. It was first of all, it was, no prescriptions for women, then it was maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that. So the messaging, I think Peter Dunn is saying, was messy.
Yeah, I disagree. I just think it was a beat up, in the sense of, the reality is whether women are buying contraception or medication today, those that can afford to pay should, those that can't shouldn't. And that was our view, which is if you're on a community services card, if you're a super gold card holder, or you're someone that actually spends over $100 on prescription charges, then that would stay free. And there's no change to current entitlement. So for what we have today. So, I just get it. I think the government was just trying to create a smokescreen, to be honest with you.
The Department of Internal Affairs discussion document on media regulation, particularly for online, seems like it's the new version of hate speech laws with the ability for I think, one regulator to decide if something's bad or not. This seems like it's got all the signatures of Ardern over this one. What do you make of it? Have you read the discussion document?
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, and the reaction from media companies in particular have been quite concerning. I mean, we're a party that believes in free speech, so we'll be going into this really carefully and somewhat sceptically, I would imagine. We'll have a further chance to discuss it at caucus once we see the full detail of it and have digested it properly. But it doesn't sound great, to be honest.
National Party leader Christopher Luxon, thanks so much for your time.
Great to be with you, Chris. Appreciate your time too.